Good afternoon, Capra here with your recap for this Friday, August 18th options expiration. And, to a large degree, today's action was exactly as expected and anticipated. Pretty quiet day overall. We did have the S&P closing below Thursday's low, which is interesting. The Qs actually, at last check here, did not. And actually, they did end up, by the end of the day, closing there just below. So, they held up better than the S&P overall. You can see here again, S&P did have a wider range day overall, but still closed with a narrow body. The high and the low become your key levels as we move forward into next week. A break above certainly would be, I think, surprising to many and suggest a move back up to the top of Thursday's range. And then if we break below, then it's a pretty clear shot down to the 240 50-ish area before testing some more significant support, and then we'll see where we go from there. So overall, again, today was a pretty narrow range, quiet day. We're just gonna have to wait. As far as some of these sectors go, I did mention at the morning call we'd review some sectors. So looking at the XLF financials, they did break under this recent support that had been holding and get rid of some of these lines. So where's it going to go to next, right? That's the question. And you've got this little area here of support, so it could easily come down there, and then you could also get a move down here to this pivot low. So anywhere within this range, I think, is a reasonable expectation for the financials XLF to come down to. That puts us somewhere right in and around 24 bucks, give or take a little bit. But you've now also got what you could argue is a bit of a head and shoulders rounded top here, where it was going sideways, tried to break out, failed, came down, lower high, and now we're breaking under this support as well as the 50-day moving average. So like I said, that all suggests a move down to these lower levels, and that's what we'll look for. As far as energy goes, this has continued to get absolutely pummeled here. You've got this support level that I have drawn down here around 60 bucks as a level, and if we go to the weekly, you can see why that is drawn there. So you've got this pivot low, and at this point, there's really no reason to think it won't continue to come down until we reach that level. I know today did finish green, but this is coming after multiple days of weakness. So getting a little bit of a pause here, maybe even a little bit more next week, the beginning part of next week, wouldn't be unrealistic before it then rolls over and continues to move down. So we'll definitely want to continue watching energy here as it looks weak. As far as bios, IBB, this one also trying to hold on top of the prior breakout area, but it's certainly under pressure and does not look very pretty. In fact, it looks like it'll probably come down into somewhere in this area, 295-ish, call it, just to split the difference there. So it probably comes down even further over the next couple days as everything else also is looking pretty bearish. Now, let's just take a look at the other side of the spectrum here. USO had a really impressive day. Very strong close, up almost 4% on the day, but it's back into this overhead congestion. So certainly not to suggest that it can't push up into it. Certainly with the strong close does indicate that it wants to move even higher. And so we'll keep an eye on this. But one of the first things we're going to want to see is how much deeper can it push into this resistance. That will give us clues into whether or not it's going to bust through this 1025 level or stall out at it. So we'll definitely want to watch that. And then also gold, GLD, gapped up here, but ended up pulling back, actually closed down a little bit on the day as they tried to clear this long-term resistance level up here. But if it can continue to hold up here over the next couple of days to weeks, that's really going to set the stage for what will then be a breakout. And if that's going to be the case, it would go hand in hand with the market moving lower. So we'll definitely want to watch for that dynamic, that relationship to play out as we move forward here as well. All right, so we can also look at retail here and take a look, see what it's been up to. Obviously, it's been real weak, continues to weaken. It actually broke under this support level, and so if we take a look at the weekly, it's now looking like it's going to continue pushing lower. And so if we go even further back, we're having to go back into 2013, 2014 to really start seeing anything. So at that point, there's really plenty of room for this to move lower. And I think anything here to the left would just be a stopping point along the way, with the real support coming down in this area here. All right, this 31.5 to, wider range, 28.5 being the lower end of it. But either way, there's plenty of room for this to move lower. You could see this long-term head and shoulders top that's also being really completing, if you will, if you're going to get this breakdown here below this support. So looks like this is really going to start catching some momentum lower here as we move forward, which may be hard to believe, but that's what the chart is telling us. And so we'll watch for that to play out here as we move forward into really the end of the year. All right, so of course, as always, guys, hope you had a great week and have an awesome weekend, and we'll talk to you next week.